jamming the switchboard, both here and at the incident room on that case of Welling Garden.
Just to remind you, this was the abduction and radio drop campaign and the handgun debate. Hello and welcome to CrimeWatch. 12 people rang in giving the same... Those fantastic results.
Good morning and thanks for joining us today. We are coming to you live from our studio in the centre of Cardiff.
Today, officers are looking for these four men in connection to a series of thefts from the archives of Bristol Museum. Hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of rare artefacts have been stolen. Do you know who took them?
We have an emotional appeal from the family of Paul McGrath, who was killed almost 30 years ago.
I cannot believe that anybody to this day would try and cover for these people who have done such a brutal act, an act of murder on an innocent man.
Can you help detectives find those responsible for his murder?
And in a case that shocked the nation, we have an exclusive interview with DCI Rebecca Woodsford, who led the case into the murder of 15-year-old Eliane Andam. She was killed at a bus stop on her way to school in Croydon in 2023.
I have never dealt with cases with that level of emotion. Almost Croydon stopped for 24, 48 hours.
Yeah, it really is a powerful watch, that one, isn't it? We're also talking to Caroline Wilgoose to hear why she is campaigning for bleed kits to be kept in all secondary schools after her 15-year-old son Harvey was fatally stabbed at school in Sheffield last year.
Our phone lines are open and the team are here to take your calls. You can scan the QR code below using your phone's camera and that will give you our contact details. Or you can call us on 08000 468 999. You can text us 63399 to start your message with the word crime, leave a space and then write your text. You can also email us cwl@bbc.co.uk. The details will be on your screen down by the clock throughout the programme.
Now, our first appeal this morning is from Manchester. In 1997, Paul McGrath's lifeless body was discovered in a hallway by a passerby. Can you help solve this decades-old mystery?
Paul was generous and kind. He was much loved by everybody. Paul's death has impacted every facet of our lives. We are not the same family.
Paul McGrath was 34. He worked as a joiner and lived in Denton, Greater Manchester.
Paul and I were really close, and he was very close to my sister, and he was really close to his mum. We were a very close family. He loved all his nephews and nieces, and me and my sister would laugh because he would pretend he didn't like the babies, and then we'd go out of the room and we'd come back and he'd be holding them and talking to them, and yeah, he was a great, great uncle to his nieces and nephews, and he loved them all, and they miss him dearly. Paul was very, very passionate about Manchester United. And my dad was very passionate about Manchester City, so like most Mancunian families, we were a split family. He got a lot of pleasure from football. In the months before Paul died, he was in a new relationship, lovely girl, and I think they had a fabulous future together. They were both really happy, they were very well suited, and I think it would have led to something.
On Sunday, the 6th of April 1997, Paul McGrath spent the afternoon and evening with his girlfriend and friends, visiting their local pubs. Their last stop was the Dog and Partridge on Ashton Street.
He met my father in there, they had a drink together. He was very sociable. He knew everybody in the pub. Would not be unusual for him on a Sunday night to have a few drinks in there.
At approximately 11:30 p.m, Paul and his friends left the pub. He said goodbye to his girlfriend and one of his friends by the Crown Point, a retail park, and Paul made his way home alone back to his address on Holland Street in Denton.
Paul went home without his girlfriend because he got work early on Monday morning. His stuff was out ready for work next day, all his kit and his uniform, and he got into bed and went to sleep, just as he would normally do on any other Sunday.
On the Monday morning, local workmen noticed the front door to Paul's property had been left ajar. And when they went to investigate, found Paul's lifeless body at the foot of his stairs.
I was getting my kids ready for school and the phone went and it was my dad. And I said, "Oh my God, Dad, what's happened?" Because he wouldn't ring me normally on a Monday morning. And I thought something had happened to my mum. It never ever occurred to me that anything would happen to my brother. You know, he was 34 years old. And then my dad had to break the news to me that my brother had been killed. I was hysterical. And I just remember pacing up and down saying, "It can't be true, it can't be true, it can't be true." Because who would want to kill my brother? A decent, lovely person. There is no reason on this earth why anybody would want to kill him. Someone stabbed him 18 times in the hallway, in his boxer shorts, and left him there to die. Who would do that? They stabbed him 18 times. That's not an accident, that's a brutal murder.
Almost 30 years on, Gillian and her family still haven't given up hope that one day they'll get the answers they're looking for and get justice for Paul.
Paul's death has been absolutely overwhelming in every aspect of our lives. Nobody had a bad word to say about him, nobody. I cannot believe that anybody to this day would try and cover for these people who have done such a brutal act, an act of murder on an innocent man. I can't tell you how much I miss Paul. There's not a birthday, a Christmas, a family event where we don't think about him, where we wish he was a part of it. And that pain can only be reduced by us getting justice. If I saw Paul today, I would just say to him, "I'm so sorry. We're trying to find justice for you. And I'm so sorry that you've missed so much." And tell him how much I love him.
I'm now with the head of GMP's Cold Case Review Unit, Martin Bottomley. Martin, although this happened many years ago, it still clearly has it's left such a huge impact on the family, hasn't it?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, it's almost 30 years, but Paul's missed out on a lifetime of Christmases, birthdays, family gatherings, and of course, Man City, Man United derbies where he'd have fun with his dad. Yeah. But as you can see, you know, the family is still grieving tremendously. They're never going to get over this unless we get justice for Paul. Yeah,
lasting impact there. So why are you reviewing this case? Why is it so important?
Well, we never close a murder case like this. And of course, with advances in DNA technology, there's always the chance that there'll be a new lead, a new investigative strand we can follow. So people who think they've got away with murder 30 years ago can very well expect a knock on the door and us there to hopefully bring justice for Paul.
Yeah, let's hope we can help do that. Can you just recap the events then, what happened that night?
Yes, it was Sunday the 6th of April 1997. Paul had a new girlfriend. He went out with his girlfriend and a few other friends on Sunday afternoon. He called at a few pubs, at the Stamford pub, a couple of others, and then ended up at the Dog and Partridge. By about 11:30, closing time, the group split up and Paul went home alone to get ready for work in the morning.
So then what do we know about what happened once Paul had got home that evening?
Yeah, so he got home, he got ready for work, got his work clothes ready, and then went to bed. And about 1 a.m. in the morning, neighbours heard some banging, so they looked out of their window and saw 2 men at Paul's door talking to him. Now, we don't exactly know what happened subsequently then, but 7:30 a.m. the next morning, a building firm opposite noticed Paul's door was ajar. So they went over to investigate and saw Paul in the doorway. He'd been stabbed 18 times and he was there in his boxer shorts, indicating that they'd roused him from his bed.
Incredibly brutal attack there. But at this time, do you have any idea of a potential motive?
Well, Paul was really well liked. He'd never been in trouble with anybody, but we do think he knew someone who was in dispute with a couple of people. So it's possible that men came round to his house trying to get information out of Paul and then decided to kill him for whatever reason.
It's worth saying, as part of this investigation, it's been many years.
Yes.
People have already been arrested as part of the investigation.
Yes, 2 people were arrested in round about the time Paul was murdered and went on trial but were found not guilty. So this case still remains wide open. We need to get justice.
And if anyone needs any further reason to come forward, there is actually a substantial financial reward for this.
Absolutely. GMP are offering a £50,000 reward for information which leads to the arrest and conviction of those responsible. And we need to get that information. Loyalties have changed over time. Someone should come forward, examine the conscience and make that call.
Yeah, do the right thing. Martin, thank you for joining us, and hopefully we can get answers for Paul's family. Do get in touch if you can help with this case.
Well, now I'm with DI Jason Chidgey, who is from Avon and Somerset Police, who need your help after a theft at a popular museum in Bristol. Jason, thanks for coming in to tell us about this, because this is quite a haul they got here. So tell us what we know, what happened.
Hi, Steph. We know that in September of 2025, the same location in the Cumberland Basin area of Bristol was burgled. The first offence took place between the 15th and 17th of September and the second on the 25th during the early hours. We know that on both occasions, a stepladder was used to access the external fire exit, and a door was forced, which gave access inside to the location where all of these items were stored.
Yeah, so this is the museum getting broken into twice, and then the people doing it heading off on foot with rucksacks and stuff stuffed in their pockets. And we can have a look at the types of things they store, because we're talking hundreds of artefacts here.
We are 600 plus, really brazen, taken away in pockets and rucksacks afterwards. As you can see, it's really unique jewellery, but it also included medals, coins, carvings from ivory, lots and lots of different pieces from the British Empire Commonwealth collection.
Yeah, and very valuable, because they're one-off pieces, aren't they?
They are very, very valuable. It's very difficult to put a price tag on some of these items because provenance from the pre-war Commonwealth era is really difficult to put a price tag on.
Kind of like late 18th, 20th century, and we're talking up to £5 million in some cases.
Yeah, 18th to 20th century pieces, anywhere from hundreds of thousands up to and into the millions.
Yeah, so irreplaceable, one-of-a-kind artefacts. You want to get them back. You also want to find out who did it. And we've got a clip we can show our viewers here. So tell me what we know. It's 4 people, isn't it?
It is. We'd love to find out who did it. These are certainly 4 people that we've got an interest in understanding who they are, to see if they can help us with our inquiries. This bridge you can see is a footbridge which crosses roughly from where the burglaries took place into a part of Bristol called Ashton. And you'll see from their descriptions that they're all wearing various different pieces of clothing. The orange and black coat is obviously very distinctive.
Yeah.
Their builds are from small to large. Specifically, there's a chap at the back who's a white male, and he walks with a limp on his right leg.
So this is this guy at the back here with the hoodie up, the kind of light-coloured pale green possibly hoodie. So he's got a limp, so that might be something people notice. It might also be the artefacts that people recognise as well. It might be someone who's maybe bought it as a collector, not realising that it's part of this collection. What are you thinking that's going to be happening to them? What's the plan with these?
Well, I'm really worried that people have inadvertently bought some of these items, whether that be from an auctioneer, from the high street, from an online auction in some way. So part of the appeal is to ask those people to come forward if they recognise some of these unique items.
Yeah.
So that we can try and return them to where they need to be.
Yes, because unsurprisingly, these items are very collectible, and there might be someone out there who might have bought one not knowing it was stolen. And they haven't done anything wrong, so they should come forward, shouldn't they?
Absolutely. We'd love for them to come forward. Some of these items are culturally, historically so important, they're irreplaceable.
Yeah. And so who are you appealing to today? It's the people who might have collected these. Who else?
Yeah, so it's the people who may have inadvertently bought some of these items to come forward, but also anybody that's got any information on the group that we'd like to speak to, that's back on the screen now, whether that's individually or whether they recognise the four together as a group.
Yeah. I mean, Jason, thank you very much. Let's hope this helps. And if you know anything at all that can help, all the ways to contact us are on the screen below.
Yeah, just a quick reminder, actually, about getting in touch. The lines are open now. Don't wait till the end of the show. If you've got information about the case that Steph just brought you or any of the cases throughout the series, do get in touch straight away. Now, though, it is time for a film about a crime that really shocked the nation, throwing subjects like toxic masculinity into the public consciousness. It's about the murder of schoolgirl Eliane Andam, who was killed in Croydon in 2023. Now, as you can imagine, this film does have some upsetting themes.
Eliane, she brought joy to so many people. She had a wonderful sense of humour. She loved life, dancing, singing. She was very talented from a very young age. I used to bring her along to my studio because she loved music.
So everything I do it all to you. I do it 'cause you love me.
There were times where she would tell me from like 5 years old, yeah, that song's not good. Don't release that song. She was the little sister that I didn't have.
How was school? Good. Every single time, same thing. How was school? Good.
Eliane Andam loved school. And at 15 years old, she already knew the career she wanted.
She wanted to be a lawyer. My wife is a lawyer as well, so there were times where they would discuss things and plan to, hopefully, when she finishes school, to do an internship at her law firm. Yeah, she's really big on justice.
On the 27th of September 2023, Eliane and two of her friends set off to the Whitgift shopping centre in Croydon on their way to school. The girls had arranged to meet one of their friends' ex-boyfriends, 17-year-old Hassan Sentamu, to exchange belongings.
That relationship had ended quite recently. Particularly, she wants her teddy bear back. Initially, Eliane and her friends and Hassan did meet in the underground car park of the Whitgift Centre. Eliane's friend has given back the belongings to Hassan as planned, and he's turned up empty-handed. They leave the underground car park and they walk along the main road, which takes them past the Whitgift Centre. Eliane's posted a Snapchat video where she says, you know, her friend's gone to exchange belongings and she hasn't got them back.
Can you tell him we're going to collect the stuff from Hassan yet? There must be like an interchange. She gets her stuff, he gets his stuff. He didn't even bring the stuff.
There's no malice there. It's ultimately Eliane showing solidarity for her friend. Eliane runs and she grabs the bag out of his hand, and you actually see on the CCTV her smiling and laughing.
But within seconds, the laughter turned to terror.
He immediately draws a knife and he chases after Eliane. He catches her and he stabs her in an explosive rage.
Sentamu then ran off, leaving Eliane fighting for her life.
Her friends couldn't do anything. The shock, the horror, the distress, you can't really describe it. All Eliane did was stand up for her friend. A bus driver ran towards Eliane to give her first aid. He held her hand and he said that he wouldn't leave her. And he stayed with her until the emergency services arrived.
It took minutes for police officers to get to the scene. While some took over from the bus driver, others questioned Eliane's friends about Sentamu.
The bravery they showed in being able to give that information when going through such trauma, I just think is exceptional. Officers identify where his last known address was and a description.
A response officer who picked up the alert spotted Sentamu getting off a bus.
Show me your hands. What's your name, mate? What's your name? What's your name? John. Have you got any ID on you, mate? I'm looking for someone who's just stabbed someone.
The officer was incredibly brave. He's able to handcuff him very quickly.
I didn't even do nothing, bro. Put your hands right there. Put me on. I didn't even do nothing. Urgent assistant, King Henry's Drive near the park. I'm marked. I've got this male detained. You're under arrest on suspicion or GBH with intent. That's for stabbing for him this morning, OK? Where's the knife?
And what you actually see in that footage is the message comes out that Eliane's died, and he says it's now murder.
Listen to me. Hassan, it's murder.
Wow. Well, the statistics around knife crime in the UK make for sobering reading, and what's particularly stark is the number of young people who are caught up in this. Now, sadly, our next guest is painfully aware of the dangers of knives. Caroline Wilgoose tragically lost her son Harvey in February 2025 after he was fatally stabbed inside his school in Sheffield. Caroline, thank you so much for coming in to talk about this, because I know you've got an important campaign around all of it. But tell us a bit about Harvey. He was a big Sheffield United fan, wasn't he?
Massive blade. He was so popular with the children at school, teachers. He had friends all over. He was just a crazy kid.
Yeah, so he was a happy, full of life lad. And what happened?
We don't really know the reasons, but he didn't want to go to school. And the week before, when the school was in lockdown, he told us that someone had got a knife in school for him. And we were like, oh, as if anybody's going to take a knife into school. The next time he goes into school, he didn't make dinner time.
So he was worrying about going into school because of a problem already there with knives. And so now, I mean, how do you even begin to start with coping with this? I know you now want to put your energy into this campaign to stop it happening, don't you?
I'm just campaigning to get knife archers into schools and bleed kits into schools. We don't know whether a bleed kit could have saved our RV, but we'll never know that answer because they didn't have one in place. So we've given 30 out up to now to schools in Sheffield, and then we want to carry on and go beyond Rotherham.
Yeah, and inside these bleed kits, you've got things like tourniquets, haven't you? You've got pressure dressings, chest seals, all things that hopefully will save lives.
Yeah, they do save lives.
Yeah,
it's not just for stabbings; it's for accidents, self-harming, all sorts of reasons.
Yeah, so you want schools to have these bleed kits. You're also doing loads around going in to talk to kids as well, aren't you? Tell us about that.
Going in to talk to children, I know it's sad, but young children as well from about age 6, because I think that's where we've got to start, do it delicately. And that's what...
6? Wow, I mean, I've got a 6-year-old, and you think that's how young we should be talking to them?
Yeah, we've got to get in there young now.
Yeah.
We know it's spiralling out of control.
And what are the 6-year-olds saying to you when you're telling them about this?
Well, they're shocked, but I've been doing it delicately, and say it's a one-off, but we don't want it happening again.
Yeah, and I guess it's about the people being hurt, but it's also about the people doing it as well, isn't it? Because there's a big impact on families there.
Yeah, so I go into schools and I talk about, like I say all the time, there's no winners here. This lad that's killed our RV, he's locked up for a long time. He's not with his family, he's not with his friends. He's ruined his life through one mistake, one split second.
Yeah, and when you're going into schools, what kind of reaction are you getting from these children you're talking to?
The children want me to go into their schools. The children want knife archers in their schools. They want bleed kits in their schools. Children know there are knives in schools.
Yeah, and when you're saying knife archers, this is like the security systems that you get at an airport.
Yeah.
So there's kids saying to you that that's what they want, because that's how worried they are about it.
I get messages all the time from children.
What would you say to parents as well? Because, you know, you saying that to me about talking to 6-year-olds feels like, right, that I should be doing something as a parent here. What would you say to parents?
I'd say talk to your children, and I also say to them, if you don't think there's a problem with knives, ask your child if they've ever known of anybody taking a knife into school, and I think you'd be very surprised at their answer.
Yeah, it's incredible. And so tell me about Harvey's Hub as well, because that's part of this, and we've got this brilliant poster here, because there's lots of ways you're trying to help with all this.
This is a poster that's going into shops, doctors, libraries, and it's got a QR code that goes to Fearless, so children can scan it and report things anonymously. So if they know someone's carrying a knife, they can do it anonymously.
Yeah, because that must be the other side of this. Just kids worried about getting in trouble if they report something. So what you're saying is, if they're worried about anything, this is an anonymous way of doing it.
Yeah.
And what do you want to see change, Caroline, in all of this? Because it sounds like a huge undertaking, all of this, but it's so important.
It is so important, and one of the other things that we're doing with Harvey's Hub is trying to get youth clubs set up for children, for somewhere to go, because children lost their social skills around our Harvey's age through COVID. And we need to bring this social back into kids' lives.
Yeah, and I guess stop the kind of glorification around it and all these different trends around it. You just want to stop that happening, don't you?
And kids want it. Kids want somewhere to go and be themselves, play the music, watch a football match, whatever, just be together.
And it's not just Sheffield, where you're from, that you've been doing this. You're going into schools in Birmingham and all sorts, aren't you?
Yeah, this bleed kit's actually going into Birmingham next Thursday.
Yeah.
And they're showing me things that they're doing for lockdown, and they put things in place to protect children, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing what you're doing, because, you know, it really does show Harvey's legacy, doesn't it? That hopefully this will stop this happening again. And thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now it is time for the second part of our film on the murder of Eliane Andam. A response officer has just arrested their suspect, but now they need to know why he committed such a violent act.
A teenage boy has been arrested on suspicion of murder after a 15-year-old girl was stabbed to death in South London on her way to school this morning.
A tragic, shocking and avoidable loss of life. The words of a Croydon MP after the fatal stabbing of a 15-year-old girl.
On the 27th of September 2023, 17-year-old Hassan Sentamu had brutally stabbed Eliane Andam in Croydon.
Me, my wife and my young daughter, we were on our way on holiday. When we landed, my sister kept calling, so I picked up. And I remember just freezing. My wife took the phone from me and my sister told her that she's been killed. We just started crying. I remember calling Eliane's mum. I wanted to hear from her. And so she confirmed it and was just breaking down crying. She was only 15. It was a horrible, horrible time.
Our hearts are broken and we are overwhelmed by sorrow and grief. Our faith in the Lord is strengthening us. We would like to express our gratitude to those who have taken the time to send us thoughtful and compassionate messages and prayers.
have never dealt with cases with that level of emotion. I think almost Croydon stopped for 24, 48 hours. The community were absolutely devastated by what happened to Eliane. The outpouring of grief, people wanting to be there, they wanted to support the family, they were angry.
Police knew who had killed Eliane. What they didn't know was why. Officers began to trawl through all the CCTV and witness statements to piece together what happened in the lead-up to this shocking crime.
They were in the Whitgift Centre the day before. Hassan was with his friend. Eliane was with her group of friends, which included Hassan's ex-girlfriend. They were challenging him around his swearing and how the relationship had ended. We see them throw water over him, and we see them all walking away very calmly. You see Hassan sort of mopping it off of his face, but that's the end of that incident. Through witness testimonies, looking at mobile phones, that night Hassan went home. He seethed, and he was angry, and he felt disrespected. And he said that he wouldn't let that go. When he left his home the following day, he was armed with a face mask, 2 pairs of gloves. And he took a knife from his kitchen and took that to the meeting.
When Hassan Sentamu was arrested, there was no sign of the knife. Whilst he was held in police custody, detectives had to work quickly to gather evidence.
What we see on CCTV is Hassan running away. We see him take his gloves and his face mask off. We believe that he's dumped those in a bin and he's continued to run away. He then goes on to dispose of the knife in a front garden. He gets on the 1:30 bus. After he gets off that bus at 9:42, he gets onto the Route 64 bus, which is where he makes his way towards his home. And when he exits that bus, it's where the arresting officer sees him and obviously runs towards him to make that arrest. The knife was recovered and then sent to the lab urgently.
Forensics confirmed Sentamu's DNA was on the knife. They had the CCTV footage and the murder weapon, but police couldn't understand what triggered such a violent attack.
The arresting officer had described Hassan being very calm, not acting in a way you would expect for somebody that had just stabbed a young girl in such an explosive rage.
Sentamu's past would offer police an insight into his behaviour.
When he was very young, 12 years old, he'd taken a knife into a school and he'd actually threatened to hurt himself. Although the police had only ever been notified about one incident, actually when you took all the records of his different schools, and he had been excluded from some for violence, where he'd threatened and harmed pupils, where he'd threatened animals, this was a pattern of behaviour. It showed that actually, when he doesn't get his way, where he was cross, he would use violence.
On the 13th of March 2025, Hassan Sentamu was sentenced to life imprisonment for Eliane's murder.
Throughout this whole investigation, Hassan Sentamu has shown no remorse whatsoever for the murder of Eliane. He gave no explanation for his acts that day. A little girl's lost her life. No justice or verdict will ever bring her back.
Our world was shattered and our hearts were broken. Her death has left a void in our lives that can never be filled. We will continue to fight against the violence that took Eliane from us, working toward a world where no family has to endure such heartbreak.
Following Eliane's death, a mural was created in honour of her life.
One of the ways to honour Eliane was to have some sort of physical memory of her. And so the mural came about. And we have it right in the heart of Croydon, where she was sadly killed. We are sharing who she is. And we are looking at different ways to continue her legacy.
What a beautiful mural there. Well, in March last year, we spoke to the sisters of 25-year-old Lisa Dorian, who disappeared in February 2005. She was last seen in a caravan in Ballyhalbert in County Down. Now, police believe she was murdered, but her body has never been found. Well, now there has been a major development. Last week, 2 people were arrested, a 40-year-old woman in Northern Ireland and a 42-year-old man in Scotland, both arrested on suspicion of murder, assisting offenders, withholding information and preventing a lawful and decent burial. And this week, 2 more men were arrested, a 40-year-old on suspicion of assisting offenders and withholding information, and a 48-year-old on suspicion of murder, assisting offenders and preventing a decent and lawful burial. Well, this year marks the 21st anniversary of Lisa's disappearance, and the Police Service of Northern Ireland are urging anyone with any information to do the right thing and come forward.
Time now for Wanted Faces. And first today we have Liam Patrick Weaver, though you may know him as Paddy. Police in Lincolnshire want to talk to him about a burglary. He's 36 and has several tattoos, including a dragon, a sword, and the words Paddy and England. Next today, we've got Jonathan Scott, but he has a range of nicknames, including Bomber, Bomber Scott, and Little Bomber. He was charged with conspiracy to supply Class A drugs and pleaded guilty in court, but has since disappeared. 35-year-old has a Liverpudlian accent with connections across Merseyside, Carlisle, and also Cheshire. And last for today anyway, we have Dermot Quilligan. He's been charged with fraud offences relating to misleading a number of homeowners about roofing work. He's 46 with an Irish accent and has connections in Harlow in Essex and also Limerick in Ireland. If you know any of the whereabouts of any of these men, please do pick up the phone and get in touch.
Now, this weekend marks International Women's Day, a day to celebrate women everywhere. And in honour of that, we've got a cracking story for you now. 4 generations of one family who have all joined the police force. PC Ellie James from Greater Manchester Police is here with us. So you're 18 months in to the job, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're following a line of women who've done the same. But tell us a bit about how it's going.
So 18 months feels a bit like a lifetime, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I joined in September 2024, where I then did 21 weeks of training out of Sedgley Park, and I had my passing out parade February 2025. I'm on the response team now, and it's amazing. The team's fantastic. It's a bit like an overbearing, overprotective family. Supervision are fantastic as well.
Yeah.
Knowing that they've got my back and that I can go to them with anything, and I'm just a bit of a sponge at the moment, sort of absorbing any information and wisdom that they're sort of passing down to me.
Yeah, because you've done some interesting jobs before this as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so I didn't want to join straight away at sort of 18 or 19. I wanted to get a little bit of life experience. So I was an air hostess, I've worked in marketing, I was also a beauty therapist. So, I mean, looks-wise, probably a small female officer. It's not typically what people think of with police officers, but again, it's breaking those barriers and stereotypes.
Yeah, and all those transferable skills as well. It just shows you people that might be watching this going, oh, I could do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think coming here today was important as well to show that sort of no matter what your background is in terms of careers, height as well, that you can do it. I've done it.
Well, many people in your family have,
Yes.
especially the women. Well, let's talk about that then. How many women in your family have been police officers?
So
Here we
I'm
go,
the
there's some of them.
fourth. So starting on the left is Ivy Baxter. She's my great auntie.
Look at that uniform.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to run in that skirt now.
No.
So she joined in 1937. She saw an ad in the newspaper for volunteer women police officers to go over to the Isle of Man. So she was over there and she was dealing with sort of high-risk prisoners in Port Erin and Port St Mary. And after 3 years, she was promoted to sergeant, so she was doing that during the war. And yeah, some fantastic stories from her. And then second on the left is my great Aunt Joyce. So she joined in the 50s. She was one of the first women police officers to drive, so she was one of 6. So that was amazing. It's quite ironic because I can only drive automatic cars. Sorry, Joyce. But she did 26 years, and in the 70s...
Did they have a little nickname?
Yeah, the Fly Girls. Fly Girls. So, yeah, the first 6 women officers to drive. So in the 70s, she was also one of the founding members of the Metropolitan Police Women's Association, and that's for serving female officers and retired female officers, and they're celebrating 50 years of friendship this year. They were, again, breaking down the barriers, the stereotypes, and obviously a male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
And she married a police officer, Bert Davis, who was a driver for the bomb squad in London.
Gosh, just a history. And then we get to your mum, don't we?
So my mum joined in 1996. She was a response cop and she worked Lady Diana's funeral as well, which she says was probably one of her proudest moments. She met my dad at Peckham.
Yeah,
this is where you come into the story.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not her dad.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
That would be a revelation.
Yeah, of course. I worked with your dad.
I worked with my dad.
And I have to say that both your parents have a very good reputation in the police. So big
good.
shoes for you to fill.
No pressure.
Yeah.
So yeah, my mum worked up literally 5 days before giving birth to me in 2000.
Oh, did she?
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah. So I think hopefully that sort of hard work ethic's passed down to me. I don't know about 5 days before birth though. And yeah, so my dad retired 4 years ago as a detective sergeant. He did his 30 years. And then it's obviously me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's obviously early days for you at the moment, 18 months in.
Yeah,
but where do you see your path going within policing at the moment?
So at the moment I'm on response. That's obviously responding to 909 calls. We call it the blues and twos when you put your sirens on. I can't do that just yet, but hopefully soon. And I'm really enjoying it. I mean, every day is so different. I could sit here all day and tell you the sorts of jobs that we do. But a prominent one for me was about a month ago, I was one of the first officers on scene to a fatal stabbing. And you never know how you're going to do in that situation. But I mean, the teamwork from the paramedics, the doctors, all the other officers, we worked fantastic as a team. And just sort of being in that environment, it was amazing to be part of that team.
The support of the team as well.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah,
supervision as well were amazing. We were debriefed by MIT as well.
Yeah.
And then hopefully in the future, probably following my dad's footsteps and become a detective.
And one day Chief Constable, I imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank
you for coming in.
I'm afraid that is the end of the shows for this week, actually, but we've had some heavy subjects, so if you have been affected by any of the issues from today's programme or any this week, do visit BBC Action Line, where you can find links that provide support. And Steph, you're going to be back with us next week, but the end of next week.
Yes, I will be. Yeah, you've got Michelle with you on Monday with a nail-biting film, actually, as 2 officers face a life or death situation as a woman is stuck in some rocks as the tide is coming in.
I remember thinking to myself, if we don't do something now, then we're going to watch this woman die.
Oh, that is scary, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, have a great weekend, whatever you're up to, and we'll see you Monday, 10:45. Bye for now.
Yeah, bye-bye.